Millenarianism is a belief that history is moving towards a dramatic divine turning point, and it's often connected in Christian thought with the 1,000 years of Revelation chapter 20. And the word can sound specialist, but the instinct is not specialist at all. It is a conviction that this age is not simply rolling on, but it is heading somewhere towards judgment, towards reversal and a kingdom, and towards catastrophe before renewal, or renewal through catastrophe. And in Christian history, millenarianism usually refers to expectations around Christ's return and the millennium, the 1,000-year reign. And that can read in different ways. Some people take it literally, whilst others take it symbolically. But once the expectation becomes vivid, you get a very particular religious temperature, because the world stops feeling stable. There's politics, war, upheaval, famine, cultural crisis. Then that you start looking for the signs, and time thickens, and the present begins to feel provisional. And that's why millenarian movements often arise in anxious periods, not because anxious people are automatically irrational, but because instability makes apocalyptic readings feel more plausible. And this is where Joanna Southcott fits so well, because her movement did not invent millenarian expectation. It inhabited an existing atmosphere of prophetic reading, biblical urgency, and end-time speculation. It's like millenarianism supplied the weather, and she supplied one particular storm. Now, one should also say this very carefully, because millenarianism is not always about date setting and those cranks with the charts. Sometimes it is broad Christian hope that has been sharpened in the moment, and sometimes it becomes highly specific and combustible and energizes reform and can produce sectarian collapse. And sometimes it does all of those things, and the variety of those things is part of what makes it so interesting, because the raw idea that God will judge evil and renew the world is deeply Christian, and that danger only begins perhaps when timetables and interpreters and the current crisis lock together too tightly. And at that point, we start getting certainty with a deadline. And history is full of movements that found that exhilarating right up until that deadline passed. So millenarianism is the expectation of coming divine transformation of history, often centered in Christianity on the millennium of Revelation and the return of Christ. It matters because it changes how people inhabit the present. It can intensify hope and fear, and intensify moral seriousness and conflict. And once you grasp that, we can stop treating millenarian movements as random oddities. We see them for what they are. And that is one of the recurring ways human beings, and Christians in particular, try to read crisis, scripture, and time together.